Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Spider-Man Miles Morales. So, we're breaking out of RoxCon, so that's good, but we still have more computers to type on and do things with.
Not my favorite convention.
Man, you stole my fucking joke.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, we're talking about real life villains. Fucking oil companies, literally. Like people talk about Captain Planet villains. Captain Planet villains are real life people. Like real life people
Yeah.
dump oil into the ocean for fun, and tear down forests for money. It's
They make fun of someone that has AIDS and some other shit.
well,
Yeah.
people actually do that.
As we all know, AIDS stinks.
Yes. I guess.
One of the most out of context lines from that show,
What show?
Captain Planet.
Captain Planet.
Oh, do you think Finn and Miles will have a conversation about their emotional problems in the middle of a gunfight, like Clark,
Like
Lois,
every
and Jim-
superhero movie? Yeah.
like Clark, Lois, and Jimmy did? Because that was not the proudest moment in my adventures as Superman.
It's typical. I mean, unfortunately, like this is just kind of a typical writing issue in that the emotional climax of the movie often has to share space with the climax of the movie. So
Yeah.
it's like, they solve their emotional or personal differences in the middle of a shootout is sadly very common in these kinds of things.
Yeah, but I feel like it could have been executed with a little bit more grace in my adventures with Superman, and it's one of the only criticisms that I have of that show. Probably an extension of these episodes are too short for the stories they're telling. Criticism, to be honest.
I think it can work if like the banter back and forth in that high stakes moment is essentially like a coping mechanism that the heroes and such are dealing with just to help them process what's going
It
on
wasn't.
right now.
It was more. It was like more a
Yeah.
straight up conversation in the middle of a.
Oh, okay. Well, I think maybe I haven't watched the show yet, but I assume that it's just because I mean it's Superman. Like they're safe. Nothing bad's gonna happen while Superman's here.
For context, in this particular scene, Superman has been depowered. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we're fucked.
Even besides that, the implication, at least from the early episodes that I saw, is that Clark isn't entirely sure how many of his powers work and has a hard time controlling.
Yeah, he doesn't even learn he has super hearing until the finale of the season. It's hilarious how he discovers that and his reaction to it, though.
Cat in a tree.
He suddenly realizes he can hear everything in the city, so he doesn't get any sleep for like 3 straight days. He's just going around helping
Solving crimes and helping
everything he
people.
hears, which in the city is a nonstop thing. Man, that show is so good.
It is very good. The animation's also beautiful too. Hopefully they get a second season and it's not.
They do have a second season in pre-production.
Okay, that is good because I was going to be upset.
I will say that the animation quality is a bit inconsistent from episode to episode if you pay attention. Like, there are some episodes where you can clearly see there aren't as many people in the background, or the characters aren't quite as emotive as they were in the previous episode, that sort of thing. It's kind of standard stuff, but it's not as consistent as something like The Last Airbender.
Last Airbender also the original Last Airbender also had a decent budget behind it though, didn't it?
Somewhat, but I think the most important thing that contributed to the animation quality of Avatar and most of The Legend of Korra is that it was all done by one animation studio.
Oh yeah, so it was everybody doing everything, so there's a lot of consistency.
Yeah.
I don't think the word is gonna convince people.
There's gotta be a way. I think that's the exit. Hey.
Yeah, sure. Give her superpowers back.
I know this place.
It's so, but she's the good guy now because we now know that the bad guy is the bad
No,
guy.
she's still not a good guy.
But it's okay, she can be redeemed because she's a girl that the hero likes, which means that she can be redeemed.
Well, she has her own goals, and Miles and Finn have come to at least a rudimentary understanding about them. So they aren't exactly enemies.
They're frenemies.
At this point,
Hi, Rhino.
At this point, it seems like Finn is going to be taking Prowler's role in the story over. Zappy Pops. That moment when you and the player character are on the same page.
Is this a dramatic sacrifice? Oh, man.
I can't see shit. Narrator, Miles handled everything.
Yeah.
Listen, it's nice when they at least try to pretend that the NPCs are contributing.
Well,
you know?
I mean, you can at least leave most of the guards to Finn here. A few of them are going to be turning their attention to Miles, but she'll aggro them eventually.
The keyword there is eventually, so you should probably be constantly jumping.
Well, I mean, you're Spider-Man, so you're all over the place fucking and as a matter of course.
I fucking love Bane.
That's all Rhino's good for.
Why are you kill stealing here, man? Finn had that guy.
I'm Spider-Man.
Finn had that guy. She was in the middle of swinging her sword. You did not have to
That's
intervene.
EXP that she doesn't need.
I know, right?
So I didn't know that in Final Fantasy, if your players, like if your characters don't, like that the amount of EXP each character gets is split up among the party members. So I didn't know that guest party members effectively steal XP from your good party members. So whenever
That's why you leave them dead on the ground.
yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like that's why I was so confused when I was watching people play stuff like Final Fantasy VI. It's just like, why are you letting Biggs and Wedge stay dead? I don't get it.
Because Terra needs all the XP.
Well, I mean,
That's specifically the reason why I would, in Final Fantasy IV's case, because your party is constantly changing in that game anyway, I would eventually power level Cecil, just him, for one section of the game, and this would fucking escalate every other joining party member for the rest of the game, and you don't have to do anymore.
oh, it does that. It does that thing Final Fantasy 12 does, where like once the party members are on board, they need to gain EXP the old-fashioned way. But if you spend like 6 hours at the beginning of the game as just Vaughn, doing all the hunts and getting all the EXP as just Vaughn, everyone is over-leveled when you get them.
Yes. It's like you're trading one problem for another, but at the very least, it doesn't feel as bad because you're only having to worry about one character as opposed to like a full party.
Yeah, it's especially helpful to do that in 12 because once the party members are with you, you actually do need to switch them into your active party to gain them levels. So if you don't spend some time with every party member in active battle, half your 6 party members will be under-leveled.
Fucking, you know what also did that? 10 to a similar extent.
Yeah,
as well.
you always had to switch
Like-
everyone in and have them guard for a turn.
Oh, that
No, like,
shit's
you didn't have to
annoying.
guard. Like not even guard. You just have to. They just have to be in the party, like just to get the experience. So what I would do is like switch them, switch them back out.
That's always Oh, there was another game that did that too. Oh, Pokemon. Old Pokemon, where it's just like you had to you kept the baby Pokemon in the front of the party and kept swapping them out between every fight of the Elite Four in order for them to gain like 20 levels.
I don't know if they did this in I don't know if they changed this in the remaster, but I always remember having to have them like in the party for at least one turn so that they would get the sphere points.
Yeah, I recall switching party members and then just immediately switching them back out because that would count.
I remember trying that, and I distinctly remember it not working.
Yeah, I might be misremembering, or it could be something that the remaster
it's
changed.
The thing, like my method was always to switch them in and have them guard for a turn because that would count for their one turn and they'd get full credit for the battle. So I would,
Despite the fact that you didn't do shit, you just put.
I would just have to waste a turn having everyone I wasn't going to attack something with guard, and then I would finish everything off.
This is why I'm glad that we have modern day systems where it can just be like, okay, everybody in the party gets the EXP, because then you don't run into situations like, this character sucks, I'm never going to play them, and then they don't get EXP, and so you don't ever get the chance to try them again.
Yeah,
because they suck, and you're never going to play them.
I mean, part of me does like the hands-on element of having to actively level up my party members manually, but that's because I'm a longtime RPG player. You know, I'm into the more immersive elements, even if they are inconvenient. But you know, part of me does appreciate that, say, in Baldur's Gate 3, if you kick a party member out to camp and then rejoin them, they automatically gain EXP to match themselves with you. So you can just use your entire party interchangeably instead of having to stick with one group of 6 for the entire game. And if you decide to switch someone out mid-game because you found a new party member who's maybe a better thief, well, you have to commit to that choice.
Like 6 party members in Baldur's Gate anyway?
In Baldur's Gate, you can have 6 party members, but there are something like 20-something.
Oh, okay. All right, because I only ever hear people talking about like 5, so, you know, maybe that's just how, you know, the internet works.
You bad guy.
Oh, come on. We had such a nice understanding going.
To be fair, that one wasn't his fault.
Wow, rude.
Why not just kill him now?
Because they're friends still. Or something.
My family's dead.
And we were making so much progress.
We're still on for tonight, right?
I'm gonna go grab a washcloth. Some antibiotics.
Okay.
Miles, where have you been?
Oh, this was a bad way to find out.
What are you wearing?
What do you think?
He's cosplaying a Spider-Man mom.
Oh, okay.
He's still trying to save it. And I put the costume on wrong. Fucked myself up. It's bad.
You got in a gang fight with the other Spider-Man cosplayers?
So that was you chasing her through
We're all trying to do the pointing meme. One of them had a knife. One thing led to another.
You could have died. No lo puedo creer.
Wow.
Did you tell me about any of this?
Why do you think?
Who?
We had
Come on.
ourselves safe.
Stupid ass questions.
I didn't want you to worry.
Okay, so
The Spider-Man's gone. I just keep making things worse and worse. Now I screwed up things with you.
Aw, look at, you know, it's nice when your family member finds out that you're Spider-Man conversation actually turns out to not be awkward and cringy. Because we were just talking about how the, you lied to me thing is always awkward and cringy.
I remember there being a scene in Ms. Marvel, the comics, where I think Kamala's mother finds out the secret identity, only she had her suspicions anyway because she's not stupid. And it just turns into was it her mother or father or both? And it just turns into a kind of "we're proud of you" sort of
Aw.
conversation.
Aw, that's nice. Because that doesn't ever happen in these sorts of things.
It's been a while since I've read Miss Marvel, but
I should get on that. Although I'm not sure how I feel about the she's a mutant now thing that they're going for. It kind of feels like a very comic booky sort of thing where they're just going to change her. They don't know what they want to do with the character, so they're just going to change their background and what they're doing for no good reason. That was actually something that happened with Spider-Man quite a number of times. They've put the Spider-Man on the Avengers more than once, and I've never been a fan of it when they have, because A, I don't think that that's where the character really shines, and B, like, it just doesn't really fit because Peter, and Miles too, is supposed to be a very down-to-earth kind of character, and
I think the thing is, Spider-Man definitely has the chops to be with the Avengers. I think the fact that his personality doesn't mesh with the Avengers does make for a good occasional story beat.
well, yeah, I mean, the fact that none of these assholes get along is, like, part of the point. Like, nobody would willingly hang out with Tony Stark if they didn't have to. You know,
I think what I mean is the fact that Spider-Man can sort of get along with these people, but his personality doesn't work as well as a long-term team member is an interesting point of character development, both for him and the people around him. So putting Spider-Man on the Avengers or making him work with the Avengers occasionally is valid and can be interesting. But I don't think I think most of the times they attempt this, they don't really tap into that potential very much.
Yeah. There's other things too, like, oh, this is a very comic book thing. We're just like, oh, we're gonna make him a clone. Oh, he's Doc Ock now. Oh, Marvel especially likes just throwing characters into LA after a couple of years, and then they go back to New York. It's just like, I get that for, like, these characters who are effectively soap operas, so you can't just repeat the same plot lines over and over. You have to have something for variety. But it does sometimes, like, that's the thing with Miss Marvel that bothers me, is that they were doing something so unique and interesting, and then they went to the, oh, I'm a mutant now thing, which is kind of just a kind of hackneyed Marvel plotline to do. Actually, the original Ultimate Spider-Man, so before Miles showed up, they had Peter effectively be a member of the X-Men for a little bit because he was dating Rogue, I think. He was dating someone on the X-Men. I don't remember. It's been years since I've read it. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know, like, can't you just have her do her own thing and let the X-Men be the X-Men? I don't get it.
I think the only time I've really ever liked that kind of convoluted continuity blendering is probably in the original, I say Jessica Jones, but I think it was called Alias in the comics. The original Jessica Jones comic storyline involving Kilgrave, where there were just a lot of disparate elements that had a lot of connections to the X-Men, which is why the Netflix series didn't bother with it. That sort of came together to make the original Kilgrave story what it was. They kind of had to, like, rewrite that and re-envision that entire story for the first season of the Netflix show, and it really did work there. But I did like the original version of it. And then in Jessica Jones' sequel series, it was basically a slice of life story about her being sort of a normal person in the wacky Marvel universe.
I mean, that's because Jessica Jones and Luke Cage are married, I think. Oh shit.
Yeah, they were.
No, I'm the oh shit was the giant laser cannon that gets you out of nowhere. That's actually, you know what, more open world games should do that. Is
just randomly fuck you over.
Well, it's just, that's such a good, like, jarring twist, is like you're just doing your random shit in the overworld, just dicking around, and then it's just like you never really think about it, but, like, when it's, you know, quote unquote free time in the overworld, Like, you don't expect the plot to come and just suddenly punch you in the balls and be like, no, we're coming right now. And I don't know, I found that pretty good.
On the other hand, that can be extremely annoying.
I mean, it's not something that a game should do often, but I just thought that was a really good twist that they did here. And doing it once and in one game, you know, out of every however many games that there are, I thought was a cool subversive thing.
On the other hand, it's something that you have to be really careful about with this kind of thing, because players, when they're in a free-form game where they're generally pursuing a bunch of different goals at a time, they don't necessarily want to be interrupted. They kind of want the main story to leave them alone for a little while.